Okay, folks, what I want to do today, and I apologize about getting this up last night, but the Tarleton web servers were down for a good period of time last night due to an outage in Dallas. But this really won't be anything new to you if you've ever had a librarian come and talk to you. But I want to show you the tips and tricks that I use to find articles quickly. So what I want to do today is go through what's called the Academic Search Complete. If you've never been here or you don't recognize this page, this is your library database page. And on this page are all the databases that Tarleton has access to and that you have access to as a student. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of split these videos up into various databases. And the first one we're going to do is Academic Search Complete. It's the one listed right here. So under the Academic Search Complete, you're going to have to log in if you're on remote. If you're on campus, you don't have to log in. If you're on campus, it's going to know that you're there. But if you're remote, and for online students, this is a very common thing, just log in real quick using your NetID. And like I said, this company, EBSCOHost, runs Academic Search Complete. Now, the joy of Academic Search Complete is that you have a number of databases with one search. And some of these are duplicated on the library access page. But if you go up to the top here and you select Choose Databases, this will allow you to select any number of databases. Now, some of these databases are absolutely worthless for what you're trying to do, and some of them are going to be extremely useful, especially ones called criminal justice. But the more databases that you turn on here, the longer the search results are going to take and the more you're going to have to flip through. So my first tip is don't turn on more than you need. Since we're doing sort of sociological, psychological, and criminal justice testing here, we're only going to turn on about 3 or maybe 4 databases at tops. The first one we're going to leave on is the Academic Search Complete. And if you want to know more about it, you just hold your cursor over these little things and it'll tell you about the database. So for instance, if we go to Alt Health Watch, it'll say this database focuses on many of the perspectives of complementary, holistic, and integrated approaches to healthcare. Well, that's not what we're interested in, so we're going to turn that off. We're going to leave it off. So we're going to turn on Academic Search Complete. We're going to come down here and turn on Criminal Justice Abstracts with full text. This one right here. And as you can see, it's just that. It's Criminal Justice Abstracts. And they have the full text. So that means that there'll be a PDF or HTML version of the article itself. And that's very, very useful for you. One of the other ones that I like to turn on alphabetically here is, where is it? Yes, PsycInfo. Okay, so a lot of what we deal with in criminology, criminology and criminal justice is sort of a combined field. It's what we call a non-reference discipline, which means we take from everything else and we apply it. If something in sociology works, we put it in there. If something from psychology works, we put it in there. If something from technology works, we put it in there. Cybercrime is almost completely technology based. So I have to use elements of psychology, sociology, and science in my studies of cybercrime, which means I'm also going to turn on the science and technology collection, this one right here. Now, if you have a specific topic that you're working on, then you may want to consider turning on a database of similar nature. And just for grins, I'm going to turn on the Soc Index. And this is a lot of sociology work. It may or may not return anything of interest for us. But I think for right now that'll be fine. Okay, so I've got 5 databases turned on: Soc Index, Science and Technology Collection, PsycInfo, Criminal Justice Abstracts, and Academic Search Complete. And then I can just click OK. Now that just turned on the databases. That doesn't actually start any searches. So let's do a search. I think the article that I posted in the last video was on the death penalty. So capital punishment, and let's go deterrence. And what I'm going to do there is I'm actually going to search for that. So as you can see, I came up with 874 articles. That's a lot, and I don't know that I'm going to use all that. What I'm going to do right now is, just because I like to see it, I'm just going to turn off the search history. It just gives me a little more space on screen. And now I'm going to start refining this. First of all, you can see that my articles come from 1931 to 2016. All right, so let's do yourself a favor. You don't need all of that. And the reason you don't need all of that is because any research that's about 10 years or older is considered outdated. You know, things change in science, things change in mathematics, things change in social understanding. You know, computers that were out 10 years ago are antiquated. The same thing holds true for most research. What you really want to do is look at anything between the last 5 years, and for really good research or a topic that maybe is a little more difficult, you want to extend that out to 10 years. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change this to 2006. I'm going to hit return, and that's going to change this. And you can see I went from 874 to 251. And that's just because things that were true in 1931, or our understanding of things in 1931, is nowhere near our understanding of things today. Okay, the second thing I'm going to do, you know, if it were a thesis or a dissertation, I would tell you something different. But right now, for this class, I want you to turn on full text, because for the sake of this assignment and what you're doing in a literature review, I want you to go ahead and have easy and quick access to these things. I don't want you to have to spend your time running an article down. If there's something that turns out to be absolutely necessary for you and you don't have access to it, you know, can come talk to me, or you can come talk to Lisa Wen, your librarian. Now, what this does is this just means that we have access to the PDFs. And that's a really great place to start, because if you can't read the article, you can't do an annotated bibliography on it. The next thing I want you to do is over here, I want you to go to scholarly peer-reviewed journals and turn that on. What that's going to do is it's going to say anything that is not peer-reviewed is out. And I can go through a video on the peer review process. In fact, that's a really good idea. I think I will. But the peer review process means that it has been verified by experts in the field of that study. So when I say an article has been peer reviewed, let's say that I produce an article, and I'm required to. So I produce an article and it goes out for publication. It's not just going to be reviewed by other PhDs, it's going to be reviewed by other PhDs with an expertise in my field, or an expertise in the field that the article is written in. So let's say I write an article on capital punishment. It's going to go out, let's say I send it to the Journal of Quantitative Criminology. The reviewers of that journal are going to look at it, and they're going to know capital punishment. They're going to know statistical analysis. And if the article doesn't meet muster, they're going to reject it. So articles that have passed the peer review process and are published in peer-reviewed journals, which is why your professors always want you to use peer-reviewed journals, is that the article makes sense. It has passed statistical analysis, it has passed peer review analysis, its validity concerns have been handled. All the things that you're learning about right now, it has passed. So it makes it a good source. It's not something that you read on some BuzzFeed article. This was written by an expert and approved by other experts in the field who are trying to poke holes in it. And when they can't poke any more holes, they publish it. So turn on peer reviewed. It's the absolute best way to get your sources. And you can see we're down to about 145 articles out of 874, which means now we can really start searching. Now, just for source type, I turn on academic journals, because sometimes you get things that are journals that are not peer reviewed, and that's just a failure of the database. So right now, your search result should be anything that you've typed in here and here, full text, scholarly peer reviewed journals, academic journals at about 10 years. That's perfect. If you set it up like that, you should have really good sources, or at least sources that are very clear that you're on the right track and looking here. Okay, so let's take let's start reading some of these. Now, you can go through and you can click each one of these, but I'm going to have a suggestion for you. When it comes over here to page options, you can turn on a number of things. You can see by default it's turned on to brief. Go to standard. By turning on standard, you'll get a little bit more. Oh, it must be the detailed one. go to detailed. Detailed will give you something useful. It'll give you the abstract. Okay, now you have to read the abstracts, and I'll tell you why you want to read the abstracts. The abstract is going to give you a basic rundown of what's in the article. It's not going to tell you enough to answer an annotated bibliography. So don't think that you can look at this and then automatically grab the annotated bibliography for it. But what you can do is easily tell by this one little paragraph what is useful and what is not. So the reason that you want to use this is that if you take a look, this article is what, 18 pages? Whoops, I accidentally clicked on it. I don't want to click on it. Is 18 pages. Just about 19 pages. Okay, there's the number, 19 pages. Okay, so I know your time is precious. My time is precious. The one thing we don't seem to have a lot of these days is time. So read the abstract and determine whether the article is useful or not without having to read all 19 pages of the article. And some of these articles are heavy reads. So what might take me 19 pages might take me 20, 30 minutes. Might take you 45 or 50 if you're not accustomed to reading these articles. So save your time. If the article abstract doesn't look like it's going to be useful to you, then move on to the next article. And that's going to be extremely useful when you hit something like 22 pages, or let's see, well, 5 pages isn't that bad. 19 pages. Let's see, 39 pages. So don't read 39 pages or 38 pages if you don't have to. Read the abstract and determine whether or not the article is useful. And then, just for grins, if you're in something like Chrome, use tabs. I can come over here and I can click this and I can say open link in new tab. And as you can see, the article shows up in a tab. And that's because I don't want to lose my list. So if the article is of use, and we're doing capital punishment as a deterrence, so let's see, investigate how different model assumptions have driven the conflicting findings in the literature of the deterrence effect of capital punishment. Well, so what's this going to tell me? It's going to look at different models and assumptions on whether or not capital punishment is a deterrent effect. This article would be totally useful for me. So I'm going to go ahead and open it in a new tab, and I'll come back to it. The pitfalls in the use of time series methods. Okay, let's read the abstract. Evaluate the various time series methods to measure the deterrent effect of capital punishment. Absolutely, we're going to keep that. So I'm going to open it in a new tab. Deterrence and the death penalty. Why the statistics should be ignored. Well, this sounds like a counter argument. Is the death penalty a deterrent? Does it dissuade potential murderers from killing? Many studies say it does. Many studies say it does not. But all the research done about the past generation should be ignored. Well, I'm totally going to read that. So I've already got 3 articles on death penalty and deterrence. So I'm going to, and you would do that until you run out of articles. So, at 20 a SWAT, this actually becomes a lot easier. So let's go to the articles themselves. Okay, capital punishment and deterrence, understanding disparate results. I read this in a full. Here's the PDF. Do yourself a favor. Copy this. I'm just gonna copy this right here, because when you save this PDF, EBSCOHost is kind of dumb. What EBSCOHost will do, it'll open up the PDF and allow you to look at it, and then you can see that I've got a download button. Max, the download button will be down here somewhere. But somewhere on this screen will be a download button. But it's going to save it something stupid like content server. And as you can see, when I download the article, it named it as content server. That means nothing to me. I'm going to have a ton of content servers. So let's make a new folder. I'm going to title this folder Research Methods Downloads. And then I've copied the title, capital punishment and deterrence. And now here's my PDF that I can read in a Adobe Reader or something like that. All right, so I've got the article, I read the article, and then I answer those 4 or 5 questions about my annotated bibliography. Now, then you would move on to the next one. When you run out of those articles, you come down to the very bottom here, especially if this is an article that's useful to you. You come down to the bottom here and look at the very bottom. You have all these references. Guess what these are? These are more sources for you. And this is where you're going to find more than you will find here, because this is already talking about the topic matter at hand. You don't have to go searching for these. The author gave you these references. This is what their paper is based on. So then you take a look at all of these and see if they're useful. And you can take these and you can feed them directly to EBSCOHost, or you can feed them to other services, which I'll make videos for. But you can really get down and dirty with this and find more and more and more sources. So that 10 sources that I've asked you to find really isn't that much. I can probably pull 5 or 6 out of this paper right here. So use what's been given to you. This is the silver platter here. This author has done their very, very best to go through the research already of what was done when they wrote their article and hand that for you. As an example, here's one: the deterrent effect of capital punishment, a question of life and death. American Economic Review, number 65, pages 397 through 417. I'd go look that up. Let's see here. Let's see. Some of these are on their model. Oh, here's another one: getting off death row, commuted sentences and the deterrent effect of capital punishment. But it's a little older. It's 2003. We said our cutoff was 2006. But I'd probably let that slide. It's heavily on topic, so there's 2. Let's see. 2005, Shepard, deterrence effect versus brutalization, capital punishments, deferring impact across states, the Michigan Law Review. I'd probably let that one slide, again, because it's completely on topic. So there's 1, 2, 3, plus the article itself. There's 4 out of 10 right there. You've almost got half of your annotated bibliography done, and I haven't even looked at these up here. Then you move to the next article. Now I want you to do this. If you can get to 20 fast, then get to 20 fast. If you want to just stand for your 10 on your annotated bibliography, then just stick for your 10. But that's how all of us, all the professors, that's how we do literature reviews. We look at every single article and then we go through the references. Then the question comes up, how do you know when you're done? Well, you know you're done when you keep seeing the same authors over and over and over again. If you come through each one of these and you start seeing the same names over and over and the same articles, let's say I come across 5 or 6 of these things and this one's listed in every one of them, I know I'm getting closer and closer to the end, because you're running out of resources. Everybody's using the same sources, and that will happen at some point. At that point, you've hit what's called exhaustion. And exhaustion means 2 different things. It means you're tired of looking. That's the funny ha-ha exhaustion. And then exhaustion means you have no more sources to look for. And that's the academic version of the word exhaustion. Okay, so you do this for each one of these. Save the articles, read them, and then later on I'll show you some tips and tricks on how to organize these things to make yourself easy, to make your life easier. While you're here, this is a big tip. There's a cite button over here. You see it? This little cite button. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a trick. If you click the cite button in EBSCOHost and you've captured the title, right? I've copied the title. There'll be this export to bibliographic management software. Now, it may not seem like a big deal now, but in a few videos, you're going to really thank me. Click that. You want to save direct export to RIS format. And there's a reason why I'm asking you to do this. I want you to save that. Now again, it's going to download it something stupid like delivery.ris, but that's okay. You're going to show in folder, and just so I can show you in my folder, then we're going to rename it capital punishment, and then we had our research methods downloads. We're just going to drop it in there. What that is a citation file. And the reason that it's a citation file I can show you later on, but it's a citation file, and I'll show you how that comes into play in some of the upcoming videos. But I want you to focus right now on getting both of these things. Get the citation file and get the article. You can't do the annotated bibliography without the article, and later on when it comes to your actual final literature review, you're going to be very thankful that you got these citation files. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks, and I swear to you, you're going to love me for it. All my grad students love me for it, and I promise you it will be worth every penny of your time to grab this citation file. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. This is EBSCOHost as a thing. You'll probably find quite a bit of articles in here. It's a little more tricky to run around, but the next one I'll show you is Science Direct, and then I'll probably show you Springer Link. And then that should be about it. You should be able to find all of your annotated bibliography resources and enough for your literature review in those databases, and we can really get this squared away. Okay, I hope this video has been helpful to you. I know it's a little bit longer than normal, but I think you'll really catch some use out of it.